So my name is Sarah Sun, like the sun, and I'm from Cedar City, Utah. I graduated high school in Salt Lake, and a little bit about me. I started school at Cornell University in New York, and then I went on a mission, and during the mission I decided to transfer to BYU to study music. So that's what I'm studying now. I'm minoring in international strategy and diplomacy. I think growing up, education was such a huge priority of my family that we made really big sacrifices in order to pursue that. And I felt a lot of pressure to honor the sacrifices that my parents have made, because even though they're highly educated, they didn't always have that chance because the Chinese government kind of told them what to do. So they were professional musicians because, not necessarily by choice, but just because that's the option that was available to them. So even though you have this lady with a PhD in viola performance, like, she stopped going to actual school when she was like 10 or 11, you know? So it's this really interesting dichotomy, and in a lot of ways I knew that, like, if I weren't to be highly educated or successful, then I wouldn't be able to take care of my parents when they were older. And I think a lot of the stress I faced as a youth was around worrying whether or not they would be able to be self-sufficient as immigrants to this country. I felt called to Young Ambassadors. I felt like a very spiritual pull to join that group. It was right before, when I was in the MTC, one of the talks I listened to was by Dallin H. Oaks talking about China, and he's like, P.S. BYU was the first American university group to get into China, and it's because of this group called the Young Ambassadors. And I was like, whoa, that's cool. And you know, they're this musical theater performing group, and in so many ways I was like, that's the culmination of my life's mission, you know, to use arts to reach people and to open doors that haven't been opened. And I just thought that was so cool. And before I left my mission, of course, I was like, oh, I'd love to be part of that. Too bad I'll never have that opportunity. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I expected Young Ambassadors to have more of the ambassador in, like, the culture. You know what I mean? I think when you're an ambassador, you're supposed to represent, like, the very best of, like, what the church, what the school, what the arts have to offer. And perhaps it's just an unrealistic expectation, you know, for everybody to transcend mortality. Yeah, see, that's such a stupid expectation. You know, like, I don't know what I was expecting, but, you know, in a lot of ways, it's just a very human group of musical theater people. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, you know, not at all, I think. But I don't know, how honest can I be in this thing? I don't know. I think just, like, by the end of the year, maybe I've become, like, a little bit more disillusioned. And maybe that's a me problem, but I don't know. I guess overall I just haven't really felt like I've fit in all the way. Existing to people just, like, completely independently of, like, my actual relationship with them, which seems so silly because everything that I do kind of points toward, like, you know, living a very public life. And it's this interesting, like, dichotomy that I've, like, learned to walk, is, like, being private, but also, like, I think that verse about letting your light shine is really something I have taken to heart and, like, want to challenge myself to do. But I think it's hard for me to open up and, like, fully be myself when I don't feel completely, like, accepted or safe to begin with, you know. And I think that kind of just creates this cycle of maybe just pulling away more and more and becoming increasingly more disengaged.